Oh, don't tell me the game. I would be actually really annoyed if the game just straight up crashed like that. Like straight up. Missing the that's because I'm missing a mod. That's why. Uh, legendary. So I think that means I'm missing the bad guys' legendary heroes, which I think is at the bottom. I think I have it down here. Yeah, so it looks like I'm missing that. Alright, so while that loads up, copy the video link. Down here. I don't need to hear myself though. I already have that YouTube link. Yeah, I can play what do you call it? I reinstall Black Ops 3 again sometime soon. For sure. I don't know if I would stream it though. Probably not. Open Google up. Boom, boom.
Home of Fates.
There we
It
go.
reveals the secrets of the past, the present.
You should be good now. So we're just continuing on from yesterday, or Dick yesterday, from the last time. I think I played. I don't remember if I streamed this part or I don't remember what I did last time. I'll be honest. What about me? No. Actually, yeah, I do. No, there goes one. I'm actually not sure what kind of armor I'm gonna want to give Aekold, or like if I want to make his army doom stack or not. Actually, I should probably see if he what do you call it, like has any like special things for units. Right, I was doing that with him. Where is Echo? As a matter of fact, it should be like over here, right? Somewhere.
Flickering fire, razzling fiends.
Life amok. So, growth. Okay, so growth. Okay, so he doesn't really like. I mean, if you want to have like a. Okay, so you have some cavalry, but. Alright. That isn't. I don't think that'll warrant like a full army for him. Mm-mm-mm. Nice. What's 3 grand? Okay, so I have enough to just build up everything. That's actually massive. Alright. So how close am I to the next book then? this army might attack. But I think this army should be strong enough that could probably. I actually think, yeah, she might be strong enough to win against that. Do I have No, I don't. Boom. Oh wait, I could just use that as. Wait a minute. Okay, just keep that on. Hold. Wait a minute. Yeah, hold on. Okay. Um. uh, oh, I mean, that'll work. Right. How close the settlement over here? I see what's great. What the oh, what are they doing?
You couldn't afford me.
I'm so
No one tells
like, it's like,
Albert
why?
what to do.
Like, what's the reason, bro? It makes no sense. Who was the other one that was doing? There's another faction that was doing the same thing too. Damn, who was it? Was it dwarves? No, I guess technically the ogre's right here, but wait, when do I get my next 5 turns from now? Alright, I mean, that's not horrible by any means. I'll tell you what. So there's one book right here. Isn't there another book like a... Oh, okay, so Nagashizar, and so I think right now, I think this might be the closest book to me. Alright, because I forgot I was dealing with Cathay. Muddle. Actually, that's hold on me. I have enough of these anyway. Yeah, because I don't want keep him in the settlement. Yeah, because I kind of don't want them to be everybody's getting halted. Alright, let's...
Change beckons.
Yeah, definitely go for... Damn. Yeah, this is definitely not going to be an easy fight, regardless of how I... Yeah, because I'm going to be honest. How do I want to go about fighting this? So, let's just save it now. And then... I just realized I probably should have used the heal up thing on this army, but that's fine. It's fine with me. What the hell kind of map is this? Oh, this is not gonna be a good one, I'll tell you what. I've never I mean, I don't really fight in Cathay, so... I should do a golden... What is this map, bro? Like, this is the skinniest map I think I've ever seen. Like, straight up. What am I supposed to do with this? Like... Like, straight up.
Abnormal strategist. Chosen of Finch. Endless glorious madness. Chosen of Finch.
I mean, I have to hide him in here.
Servants. Chosen of Finch. Destined to win.
I have never seen this kind of a... Bro, I just want to know who the hell designed this map.
Of change.
Like, straight up.
Chaos Knights of Finch. Embrace the forbidden.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, I probably could get away with just not using my cavalry in this entire battle. Like, straight up.
Finch sees all.
You know what? Hey, worst case scenario, what I'll do is I'll withdraw them from the battlefield. Worst case scenario. Can't really do a whole lot about them, so... Same thing with them, so I'm gonna keep them right there. What's 250 Rangers is there, 130, 480. So how? So where does the? Ah, I see. Okay. Jesus Christ.
Exalted hero of Finch.
Let's put them back over here.
We are exalted.
Yeah, they can't hide, so. No, he's gonna have to do the brunt of the work. Or as much as he can.
Water the ground with their blood. Let the shaman feel the prayer of their screams.
Oh, I just realized they're hidden too. For whatever. Or at least like most of them are. Yeah, just go for Gelt. I need you to fight Gelt like. Nice.
Conquering deadly chains. Feel my call.
Alright, hopefully that did damage. Just cast that right there. Yeah, no, you just keep fighting Gelt. That's what I need you to do right now. Why are you not fighting him, bro? Come on. You almost there, Gal? Or, come on, don't let him start regenerating his shield, bro. Do not let him go. But actually, yeah, that's fine. Nice. Hit him. Hit him. There's actually no way that you... Dog, he has he has two... Nice, one more hit. Come on, come on, come on. Bro, there's actually... Where is he going? What is... Yo, what is happening right now?
At once.
Wait, what are you...
Death is fated.
Bro. Imagine just trolling at this point. Where is he going? Nah. There's... Bro, what is this map? Wait. What is happening right now? This is... I have, like, the big... Oh, okay, he just left the battle. He's dead anyway, so... What do you mean you're obstructed? There's actually no way in hell you guys are...
I know the ways. We serve siege.
Where are you going, buddy? First off. You need to go worry about the... Yeah, you go worry about that.
Conspire to destroy. We are his pawns. Chosen by Zeus. Conspirator, hear us.
Bro, why are they not fighting the god...
Knowledge is power. Feel the power of Zeus.
Still... Bro, how is Gelt still on the map? That's what I want to know. Maz literally doesn't know where the hell he's going. That's actually humorous. Nice. Yeah, that should heal him up to full. Everybody... Like, who is taking... They're all gonna be dead anyway, so there's no point in me continuing that back. So did I... Also, I didn't lose any units from my, cavalry, which is actually really nice. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that is an interesting map, I'll tell you what. Yeah, so I don't... So everybody's just gonna be... It's because they're all in force march, they're all gonna be dead, so... Damn, that man, so... Probably should have just left the soul grinders and the lords of change further up then. That's fine. I've never seen that map, so...
Work is your reward.
Alright, that army's dead. I hope I have enough movement to get both armies. Alright, we'll see what the auto resolve looks like
They were
then.
no match for my magic. Servants of the Windlord.
I already have all your magics, so... Mentor, I get... Yeah, I guess Mentor, since that's all I can put your points into.
Change incarnate.
No. Nope. All the other points are going to be going right into endless training.
Dark sorcerer.
What do you
Magic
have?
of change.
I don't know why he has more health, whatever.
Lord Conjurer.
I'm going to take auto resolve.
Victory. A sacrifice in Char's name.
That's a rough one, but that's...
For the great conspirator.
Oh, damn. I can't get up.
The changer
Unfortunate
demands
that I
our
can't get
patience.
more, what do you call it? I don't have enough movement for, in-camp stance, which is whatever.
Servants of the Windlord.
Well, that's fine.
Serve the
Because-
changer of ways.
Worst case scenario, what I could do is next turn put him in camp stance, and then just move him, zigzag him around, see what I could get in one turn and whatnot.
Prince will be pleased.
Prince.
Right, because I was moving you. So, where's Hammer Fist? I just realized that.
You need a boon.
I remember the last thing he was like over here somewhere. So you have, but he was on the, like the actual map itself though. That was.
Zinch bestows the glorious burden of knowledge.
Let's actually see. So Bellacore. So he's not in an army, so he's just chilling somewhere on the map, unless you got a wounded, which wouldn't surprise me honestly. Does that everybody move? No, it is not.
Bringer.
Right, good. Let's just keep force marching you over yonder.
It is time to strike.
Alright, why was I...
Fates entwine.
I don't think that got rid of it. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that got rid of,
Change.
what's his face? Reichland.
All serve the changer.
Looks like I already have most of his, I already have all his, other stuff.
My senses.
So it takes about 2 turns for a bunch of stuff. Is that everybody? Yep. Oh, I probably should have done the heal army. That's fine. So the thing I'm worried about most over here is just just getting him the full strength. But everybody's like halted, so I think I'm chilling, stinky. I hope Warhammer. But this just look. I'm gonna be honest. This isn't so. The thing with this game is that if you ever play like city builders, what do you call it? Like this, like city builders where it's like you just build up cities, provinces, shit like that. It's not like so. This is one of those Total War specifically. It's one of those games where it's like it's not that it's hard. It's just it throws a lot at you in me like at the start. But it's honestly, do I even have a? But it's what do you call it? It's honestly not as bad as it looks. It's one of those where it's like there's a lot of features and stuff that in this game that you probably already know. It's just a matter of connecting the dots. You know what I mean? You know, it's like I literally got into Warhammer because my friend bought me Warhammer 2 and one of the races or DLC packs for Warhammer 2. So yeah, so my friend, when I first got into Warhammer, my friend bought me Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2, right? And he bought me, so I knew nothing about Warhammer, like just nothing. And see how not complicated. I'm gonna be honest, it's not bad because it's one of those games where it's like, what do you call it? It's literally just it's like let's go to my territory where it's like you have so you have your settlements, right? And then there's like within those settlements you have different buildings for different purposes. You have like a basic like generic not generic but like your infantry type units. You have buildings for your like special military units or like special like your high tier units. You have like if you need to have a settlement that's on the defensive, you have stuff for that. Then you have your income buildings and like infrastructure. Is it so? It's not. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like you just it's like literally like connecting the dots, you know. And it's like obviously you build up the settlements, you know, through your gold, and then most factions in this game have some kind of like a special resource, or at least a good amount of them, you know. So in this case, I have, so I'm playing as I'm sure since you're you know you probably know somewhat in the table from the tabletop, so it's like a lot of it's familiar. Like you have the four chaos gods, you know, Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch in here. So I'm playing as one of the Tzeentch factions, and what my special thing is, you know, just doing Tzeentch things and BSing around the map, you know. But that's whatever. So it's like you have like your resources up in this top bar. Anything that's like unique to the whatever you're playing, you'll have up here. So so it's one of those where it's like it just shows you like most stuff will show you like what it does, you know what I mean? Like there's like these little bubble things will show you like what kind of temporary effects you have. So let's go from right to left, I guess. So this is just like another like how expensive your armies are to maintain, and then another one was like the temporary buff for leadership, temporary line of sight on like on this map here, which is like the turn-based side of Total War Warhammer, Chaos Gods. Or yeah, no, that's because it's like there's a lot of like overlapping what do you call it? I don't know. Overlapping variables is the best way of describing it, but like there's a lot of stuff that it's like if you know enough of 40k, you can transfer a good amount of that knowledge over to the Total War. So it's like you got your Chaos Gods, you have so in 40k you have the Drukhari. In this one you have the High Elves, the Dark Elves, and the Wood Elves. You know, all like in their own divided subculture, whatever, of the Elven race. And then I'm trying to think who was another like you obviously you don't have Space Marines in this. You don't have the Necrons. You don't have the Tyranids. So I can't remember, but I think in 40K, I don't know how familiar you are with like the lore, but like if you're familiar with the I think it was the War in Heaven with the old ones in the Necron or in the Necron tier when they turned into the Necrons and the ones who turned them into the Necrons. I think the old ones at least I think they resemble the Lizardmen. So there's like a lot of like overlap, you know. And then you got well in this one you have I guess the remnants of the human race. You have vampires. You have uh the Skaven, dwarves, which I think in 40K, there's like they're not. I don't think they're like considered a major faction, but you have I think they're called the Leagues of Votan in 40K, but in this one you have just dwarves. You know, the stubborn dwarves. I can't remember how big there was if there was a French or yeah, like a yeah, I wish there was some that were alive, but like so like in Total War we have Bretonia, which is kind of like the French of Total War Warhammer. And I think there is like a chivalrous equivalent in 40K. I can't remember what specifically what they were, if they were just like a variant in the Imperium or whatever. But yeah, you also got greenskins in here. You have the Warriors of Chaos, which are basically like if you know about like Abaddon at all, or like know of him, his whole charade. I've like after the whole Horus Heresy. I think the one of the people that I watched basically goes like Archaon's kind of like the Abaddon equivalent to, or I guess Archaon's the Total War Abaddon, vice versa, or like that. It was something like that. How does one so I guess you know I could start a new campaign. That's fine. I could just give her like a rundown. So let's save. So I'm actually just gonna start with nothing or no mod. Just start from pure vanilla. Then I guess it makes it easy. I know, of course. Listen, I'm all for if it's even just one person that it's like I can get into like just Warhammer in general, or if it's like Total War or whatever. The more people the merrier. You know what I mean? So let's deactivate everything. Let's hit play. So basically, if you just pick up Total War Warhammer 3, you're gonna have access to certain base game races. So basically, you'll come into some variation of like you know the title screen or whatever. It'll probably have you play or suggest you in playing the tutorial. So if it doesn't, if it puts you in this screen, you could just hit campaign, new, and then you have access to the three modes in that or three main modes: the tutorial, the story based, like thematic, like how do you call it? Okay, so if you ever play like an example, which in a game that I don't know if you played, but if you ever played a game like Dynasty Warriors, right? You have your story mode, your free mode, and like your challenge mode. So in this game's equivalent, you have your tutorial. Well, actually, I hit that. Actually, they actually have really. I know there's some Warhammer games on like consoles, but I don't think I've ever played them. So yeah, so you got your tutorial, and then you have like your story mode type. What do you call it? Like the story-based theme for this game, and then you have the Immortal Empires, which is basically like the do whatever the hell you want game mode with every access to all the different races in the game. So basically, I'm gonna go into the campaign, new. I guess I could show the realms of chaos. So, or I guess the mortal empires. So if you click on immortal, depending on what mode you pick, it's gonna show you what races are available to play, and depending on what DLC you actually own and have installed, this screen is gonna look different. Like, you'll have like the different race cards or whatever, but you'll have like a little purple thing that'll be like, oh, if you want to play this character, you have to own this DLC, whatever. But because I own all the DLCs, you know, I have access to all of them. But there's certain factions, base game factions that you'll have access to. So I think with Warhammer 3, I think you have access to all 4 Chaos Gods. So Slanesh, Tzeentch, Khorne, and Nurgle. I think you'll have access to like the base game lord. So you have access to like Kugath, Kairos, and yada yada. And then all the other paid DLCs, you'll have some kind of a marker. So every race in this game basically has like their own way of what do you call it? Like their own kind of play style. So to simplify this in the absolute bare minimum, every faction to some extent plays the same in the sense that you're gonna have some kind of a settlement management system where you have to okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting way ahead of myself right now. So basically, if you boot up the game, you don't have no DLCs. You'll pick a race depending on what you have available. And I always tell people, whatever like how the faction plays is gonna have an impact, or the race per se, because the dwarves are gonna play different from Slanesh, which are gonna play different from the high elves. But with that being said, the people that I've talked to about that got into Warhammer, I always told them, listen, if you're gonna pick up this game, pick up a race, or I guess let me take a step back. If you're someone who's into like fantasy, you know, if you're into like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, you probably have like certain affinities to like certain factions like elves, dwarves, orcs, like ants if you're into like Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Like you have certain like races that you like playing in other fantasy world. I always tell people, if that's what you like, then you might like that faction in this game. You just have to learn how they play. You know what I mean? So basically, if you like dwarves and how they are, then you're probably gonna like how the dwarves play in Total War. Same thing with the elves. You know what I mean? There's like the nuances to how this game is and how the races, what do you call it, function. But they're still gonna have like, if you play a dwarf, you're gonna have the experience of a dwarf for the most part. You're gonna have the experience of an elf if you play as an elf. I mean, to an extent. Same thing with the race of men. Same thing if you're, for whatever reason, you like French people. You know, if you like playing as like a French or like cavalry based, you know, or if you're someone like me and you play as the good guys of the world, you'll play as someone like the Warriors of Chaos, which I think they're all a paid DLC, but that's again. So basically, it's like, so once you have your whatever race you like picked, if you hover over these like cards here, it'll give you kind of like a basic idea of how each race functions. So you see how for the Warriors of Chaos you get like fortresses, like kind of like an idea of how they play, whatever, and then you'll get like a description of who they are. So I'm just gonna pick a race. So I'm gonna pick the High Elves. So like if you picked up Total War for the first time, or at least Total War Warhammer 1, 2, or 3, or 2 or 3. Can't remember if Tyrion's in the first one, but Tyrion is considered a recommended first campaign, which a lot of people probably do agree with, because it's like I'll show you on the map. But so once you get into the race, and each lord has like their own unique what do you call it,
We
like
must
faction
preserve this world.
that have their own unique benefits. Like if I pick Attain, I'm gonna have these faction benefits. Just doesn't matter where it is on the map, I'm just gonna get this. And then because I'm playing with Tyrion, Tyrion's army specifically is gonna have these effects right here. So you can see he has upkeep for these units, recruit rank and whatnot. But if I hover over Techless or a different lord, you'll see different faction effects, different lord effects, and then they're good. That's different from lord or from faction to faction. And you'll might have also noticed that every lord has some kind of a different army from one another.
I am
So
Tyrion.
yeah, it's probably, like I said, it's one of those where it throws a lot. So I'm gonna pick Tyrion, and if you want, you could just look at how big the map. This is how big the map is, or because yeah. So every so it's what yeah. So every
Preserve this world.
what do you call it? Every lord has kind of like for the most part, most lords have some kind of like actually, let me rephrase that. Every lord has some kind of unique effects that are like you can get certain like this is unique to Tyrion, like the diplomacy construction, like this is unique to the faction of Attain. And it's like Alariel's whole thing is gonna be different, you know. So that's like, even though you're gonna play, let's say, if you play a Tyrion campaign for your first campaign, your second campaign is an Alariel or Radiant campaign, you're gonna have kind of like the same overall playstyle, but it's kind of like the way you go about it is gonna be different. So it's like your start, middle, and maybe end game is gonna be different than it was on Eltharion or Tyrion. So it's like every campaign you'll play was gonna have a lot of similarities, but it's not gonna be exactly the same. You could play the same, like if let's say you play 5 campaigns in a row, and you play as Tyrion every single time. All those campaigns are gonna be slightly different from one another. You know what I mean? So basically high elves, Tyrion. This shows you like your starting army, what you start out with. You hover over here, you'll kind of get like a stat card. So how long? So that honestly, that question is entirely dependent on how long you're willing to play. So let me just go through settings real quick. So then I'll get on to the campaign map. So basically, on here, this is where you could customize some like basic settings. So like how hard do you want the campaign to be, from easy to legendary. So basically, this will control like what happens on the campaign map. Obviously, we'll show that. And then the battle difficulty. So this is where the real-time strategy comes in. This dictates how hard or easy the battle will be. So I'll start this on normal. And then this is just some other stuff. So I'm not going to worry about endgame crisis. Just some settings you could change, like endgame crisis, stuff like that, which I wouldn't bother if you knew. I don't care about battle realism. So I'll just start the campaign. So to answer that question about how long each campaign is, that's gotta be dependent on how long you are willing, or how much interest you have in the campaign. So let's say if you want to conquer the world and own every single settlement, then it's gonna take you a few hundred turns to do that, and that may take you, let's say, a week and a half, all depending on how long you play. Or if let's say you want to play till turn 50, you hit your sweet spot, you got the value you wanted out of that campaign, then it's like that campaign would be done. So that's more of that. That's one of those questions where it's kind of like, it's a very subjective kind of question, simply because it's like, what do you call it? It just depends on you. So you do have some. So basically, let me just pull it. So in this bottom right hand screen, there's like this little objective screen thing. So basically, in the first column, you have missions. But on the right side, you have your victory conditions. So if you're like, you know what, I just want to hit my short and campaign victory, then this is going to show you what you have to do in order to achieve that. So if you're like, okay, let's destroy these two factions, take these settlements, you'll reach a short campaign victory. However, if you're like, okay, let's play a little longer because you haven't quite hit that sweet spot for a done campaign, you have your long campaign victory, which is basically just achieve your short campaign victory, and then you have like extra stuff you gotta do. And then you'll get rewards based on whenever you do achieve these campaigns. And then you have your domination, which is just own the world. But, like I said, that's a question where it's like you have, markers where it's like you to kind of like keep you on track to see how you are doing in the world or on the map, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's one of those questions where it's just it's more of like a subjective, you know what I mean? So it's like if your goal right now, right? So I have played. So technically speaking, I have played every race in this game at least once. However, there's some races that I've played more than others. What I mean by that, so it's like I've played. So High Elves, they're one of my more played factions. Bretonia is one of my least played. So my favorite faction that I've played in this uh, has got to be the Dark Elves. So basically, the people that I'm at war with right now, they're my favorite race to play. And my least favorite race has probably got to be Bretonia, because Bretonia is a very cavalry heavy faction. Like that's like their bread and butter, you know? So it's like every faction has variety, you know, from just melee infantry, missile, some kind of a missile infantry, cavalry, monsters, artillery, stuff like that. They have every faction has some degree, some more than others, but for the most part, there's something in most categories of some kind of a unit that all factions have. So it's like the reason why I like the Dark Elves so much is because they're one of the strongest races just overall in both in a military and an economical standpoint. They're probably not the strong. I mean, but I'm not gonna get into that whole thing. But yeah, their roster is super strong. A lot of the bonuses that you get and traits and stuff like that can compound on one another. But that's more of like it's like a compound effect. You know what I mean? Like, so the more trait bonuses you get, the more stack. Yeah. So that's why I like them. Bretonia is kind of like, I'm not really like a cavalry like micromanaging person, so that's why they're my least favorite. So yeah, so basically, if you're so I guess, so whatever campaign you boot up for the first time, you're always gonna have uh gold as like basically to build up most of your settlements, but you recruit units. Or in some evil factions, it's called favor. It's the same goddamn thing. You know what I mean? It's like we Americans have dollars, Canadians have or I guess the Spanish people have pesos. Same thing. You know, it's just the wording. You know, and then typically speaking, most factions. So I guess in this middle bar, you'll have your gold, and then you'll have some kind of a second resource. Some factions just have gold. Some factions have, like just one singular what do you call it? Like another resource. Some have a lot, but that's all dependent on the race you play. So in this case, we have gold and we have what's called influence. So because the high elves are generally known, at least in the Total War, to be very like diplomatic heavy. But I wouldn't say a diplomatic. Actually, yeah, I guess that would make sense. Diplomatic type of race to play. You want to basically have as many friends as you possibly can. So they're basically one of their strong suits is just if you're a really good diplomat, you're gonna you can do who knows how much work in this screen, you know. So, but every faction can do diplomacy to some extent. Some more than others, some not as much. But in this current case, we're playing as a very diplomatic faction, or can be a diplomatic faction, I should say. So basically, as I was saying, gold, obviously you use up gold to in your settlements, which is basically what this is. So you have what's called the province, which is basically like provinces are just like the where the cities are like fall under. So in this case, we're in the province of Etain. So in this we have Lothern and Gariel, Tarvalacian, and Shrine of Assyrian. So basically this is you have the province and you have your settlements. There's always gonna be some like one major settlement that's gonna be like the capital or like you'll know because it's always gonna be the left one and it's always the biggest has the most built slots in it. So basically the very first slot is always gonna be your like the building itself, and then some settlements in this game, or I should say a lot of them, are what's considered a port city. So basically, the slot right after your like your main build slot is always gonna be your like your port building. So those two buildings you cannot destroy, or I guess if you basically the only way you could destroy is if you abandon the settlement. But and this is where I was talking about earlier, where if you go into the building browser, it'll show you everything that can be built in every settlement. So it's like you can see. So you have your basic military building, your advanced military building. So like your normal infantry, like your generic stuff. Then like your special high tier stuff, and then you have your defenses, and then you have your infrastructure, basically where you get money, growth to build up your city. And then it's a lot of. It's not gonna. Every city is gonna look. Not gonna have everything. The top right hand corner requirements to build. So, are you talking about how this like if this right here is grayed out, like this amphitheater right here? So the way this works, right, is so the reason we're grayed out is because we're not at a tier 5 settlement right now. So basically, in order to get this level 5 amphitheater right here, we have to build this plaza right here. So you see how all these buildings right here on the bottom are like white and they're kind of like glowing. So we have to build that, and every building has some kind of a turn time before they're finished recruiting. Or not recruiting, building. So basically, in order to get to these Roman numerals that we have here, basically indicates what level the settlement itself has to be before we can start constructing this set tier. So if I want to reach this if I want to build this dragons lair so I can start building dragons, I have to reach tier 4 in Lothern, have that completed, and then start building this city. And then once this city's done building, then I can start recruiting dragons. Is that hopefully I didn't confuse anyone there, you know? So, but yeah, that's essentially how that works. It's literally just if you don't demolish it, or if you don't, as long as you don't demolish the building, when you have enough money and you are able to, you just build it up and it'll just build on its own. And then once a building complete, so if I build this now in one turn, I'll get an extra 60 gold and I get control +2. Some buildings, a lot of buildings in this game have this thing where if you meet certain requirements, it's gonna have certain effects. So basically, once this province has, wait, come on. No, it's not like I say, it's one of those games where it's like it's not hard, but it can be overwhelming, and if you don't like, if you just go balls to the wall without knowing nothing, then they could definitely like push people away from it, you know. But yeah, no, it's honestly it's really good. So it's like that's in essence that's the building browsers. Some buildings are gonna have some kind of effect, you know, like you have to hit this to have this effect kind of happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like it's one of those things where it's like if you just focus on the like if you just do the basics of building up your economy, you can that's like the crux of it. Then because it's like if you can get your economy booming like good, and then you just build the right buildings and the right. I mean, you could play. It's one of those games where you could do whatever the hell you want. Like there's no right or okay. So there's no technically speaking, there's no right or wrong way of playing this game. However, if you want to have like a decent campaign, then there's certain things that you're probably gonna want to do in order for you to have a better time. So it's like, for example, right? If let's say I want to get this tier 5 dragon keep, right, and I want to build these dragon pimps shock cavalry, right? So the only in this province, the only settlement that can get up to tier 5 is this main city right here. So if let's say I
Shield against the darkness.
so if let's say for example I take the Tower of Lycian, right? The highest tiers that these minor settlements can go up to is tier 3, meaning that if I can't even build this building in a tier 3 settlement. You see what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you just have to like just sit there and think about it for a second. Be like, okay, if I want this building, I gotta build it in like a tier 4 settle. I got, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like if you just read it, think it over for a second too, you're good. You know what I mean? So it's like once you get your the building browser kind of like an idea of how that works, then it's like you would take a look at the screen on the left hand side. This can be both your best friend and your worst enemy in a way. If you're simply saying. So basically every lord that you play has a set spawn, basically saying that Tyrion's start location is always going to be how you see here, standing right outside of the city with a hero and an enemy army. This is always going to be the same. So basically, it doesn't matter how many times I start Immortal Empires. Every time I play this game mode and I pick Tyrion as the legendary lord or the faction of Etain, he's always gonna start here no matter what, unless the people who make the game decide to change it for whatever reason. Not that they probably will, but needless to say, every character is gonna start in the same province. Basically, you have the same start. Till I guess they stop updating the game, but even then, it's yeah. So basically, you would always expect your starting turn 1 to be the same. You know, if you play Tyrion now, or in a month from now, a year from now, 10,000 years from now, you know what I mean? So that's always gonna be the same. Basically the only consistency you're probably gonna have that's gonna be like reliable, I guess, is your turn 1, because this is always gonna be the same. So in this situation, Tyrion's always gonna start off with some kind of a wizard, start next to Lothan, and start next to a Dark Elf army. This situation, as you see it now, is gonna be the exact same, no matter what. This situation right here, at this point, once you make your first decision, everything else for the most part, you're gonna have a lot of similar actions take place, but for the most part, it's all gonna be different. You know what I mean? Because it's like if let's say, okay, so you know what? Then before I start just rambling off again, let's just So basically, a lot of factions start off with some kind of a hero. In this case, Tyrion starts off with the wizard. So basically, her whole thing obviously is she can cast spells. That's her thing, you know. So basically, whenever you click on a lord, hero, or like character, you'll have this green. If it's one of your own, you'll have this green like outline, like basically saying like this is how far you can go in the current stance. So with that being said, if you look at your character portrait, you see this yellow bar in the like top left-handed corner. That's how much movement she has. So basically, I'm gonna right click on Tyrion.
I sense items of
And then
power.
you'll have like a little pop-up that says like scouting, whatever. That's like her like special thing that she could add. So I'm gonna click on Tyrion and I'm gonna attack
To victory.
this Dark Elf army. So basically, this army should almost always be the same. Same thing with other factions. If you go up against a settlement, a certain lord, the what you go up against should always be the same, unless you're playing modded, but that's a different story. So once you attack your